It's unheard of for me that an 8-game player, 8 games into his career at a new club, has put contract talks off. How does this...
Well, hang on, not unheard of. Yeah. Go back to Nathan Buckley. Everyone knew it was a year at Brisbane he was going to Collingwood, so it's not unheard of.
But did he sign a 1-year deal, though, at Brisbane?
It was.
This is now...
It's a very different system.
Well, but the principle's the same.
The irony was that he was going to North in the first instance. And then he came to Collingwood.
So all I wanted to say is that Tom Scully, I'll never forget the charade. So Tom Scully only spent 2 years at the Melbourne Football Club, #1 draft pick, 2 years, 31 games, and it became a charade. He was being interviewed, he was bumbling and messing around. Here's obviously Jack Silvani telling him what he thinks of his club, Jason Horne-Francis' club. But so how does it get to this point? Why is it made public 8 games into a player's career when he's contracted for next year as well?
Yeah, well, I think, and Better Mafia was on a radio show last night on 3W and confirmed all of this, but he is wanting to see clearly more from the North Melbourne Footy Club. Now, what I can tell you tonight, Ed, is that North Melbourne, as I understand it, was so close to announcing a contract extension for Horne-Francis pre-round 1 that they actually had a draft ready to go from the media team. My understanding was going to be a 3-year extension, so basically a 5-year deal, which is not dissimilar to what previous high picks have done before. Adam Sherrod did it early at Fremantle with you.
Yeah, it makes sense. We know the kid.
Cam Rayner did it, I think, before he even played for the Brisbane Lions.
So I can be critical of player managers, but in this instance, I don't see any benefit for this becoming public for Horne-Francis and his player manager, because they could just...
As in him not signing, becoming public?
No, not signing, yeah. How's it become public? I don't think it's come from the player. It's no good for the player and it's no good for the player manager. So where's it come from?
It's a footy club though, Ross. I mean, like, things get out when you're just about to announce a re-signing.
They get out of the dressing room, they get out of the administration, they're getting out everywhere.
But there's 3 players at Essendon in their second year. Cox, Perkins and Reid, pick 7, 8 and 9, who they're in their second year and they're unsigned.
No, and halfway through.
Yeah, halfway through.
But that's a bigger concern. No, but they should be.
Yeah.
No, but in fairness, Lloydie, I think, and they've been on the record as saying this before they picked him, Horne-Francis North Melbourne saw as a generational player. So it's a little bit different to those picks 7, 8 and 9. They think this guy's the next Patrick Dangerfield. So they want to get him signed as early as possible. Now, the fact that he hasn't done that, I don't think yet, Eddie, is concerning. I don't think we should be jumping at shadows at the moment. But the facts are they're getting beaten by 50 points most weeks. He's clearly already one of their better players and a bright, shining light. And is it,
I just think,
it's
again,
not ideal.
Look, I think the supporters get forgotten and all this sort of stuff. The media now, we're all involved in it. These things are big. I mean, you have a look at the papers and there's an explosion every day. Someone's another disgrace and all that type of thing. This now...
That's been happening.
But it's far more. But I'm just saying... But I'm just saying now with this situation, I think your point's right. I think the pressure now goes on this kid.
Yeah, that's
for the first 6 weeks of his career, every North Melbourne fan, every football fan has gone, have a look at this bloke playing. And it's got nothing against him. It's got no issue. But now everyone's going to look a little bit differently. Is he playing? Anything happens.
But I think it's if you walk into Collingwood, if Collingwood have had a bad run for a few years, they got the 2010 Premiership Cup. You walk into Brisbane Lions, we get it. Hawthorn, they're a great example. We've won one in the 60s, 70s. 80s, 2000s. So the belief system, this club gets it done, and yeah, we're doing it hard, but North haven't had success since the 90s. So it's becoming 30 years. So that's what happens. The belief system is, I know you're talking about rebuilding, we're going to come through, but near-term history is telling me you're probably not likely to. Whereas you walk into Hawthorn, Sam Mitchell's got a stronger belief system. We've done it, I was a part of it. You trust what I'm saying, we'll get done. Yeah. That's the issue they got.
Just before Matt puts up a great quote, I reckon one of the best quotes I've seen for this year. I just want to ask you guys, we know what happens in the world of footy. If the opposition team's having a hard run, you're down there knocking on the door or you're making entreaties, come over here. Is it something like, because he's from South Australia, isn't he, Horne-Francis?
Yes, yep.
I mean, you look at Adelaide Crows, they're big young kids, probably a year or two ahead of North Melbourne's rebuild. Port Adelaide, the great club.
Well, they've got Rosie Butters, you've got Boat going out the door.
Exactly. You'd think that somebody would probably be in the area, wouldn't you?
They already would to his management.
Of course they would.
There's no doubt about that.
Anyway. And if it's still at round 1 next year, if it's signed by round 1 next year,
it's a problem.
It's most likely he probably will leave.
Yeah, but having said that, if you're a kid, I'd be, if I was him, I'd be saying I'll talk to you in 2 years' time.
which is
I'll back
disappointing.
myself in.
But-
No, but that's
yeah.
a back
And I
yourself.
love what I've
Chances
seen
are
with
it's
him,
signed.
by the way. He competes for his club. He's head over the ball. He stands up. He's tough.
I think he's a beauty.
He reminds me. He's the closest.
Put it at a bit of
Nathan
perspective.
Buckley
Now, I want
for
to
a
put
while.
some perspective because I think it's all David Noble's had a shocking week, a tough week. The way this has been got out too, how this got out that he had to apologise to his players. But I love this perspective from Luke Hodge, who's been there and done it all in footy. And rather than looking at the now for North Melbourne, what went on with Clarko back in the early 2000s?
In Clarko's first year, he won 5 games at a percentage of 82%. Nobes won 4 and a draw at 85%. So already in games, it's not much difference. In Clarko's second year, so this is where Nobes is, from rounds 6 to 18, right smack bang where we are for Nobes, they won 1 game from rounds 6 to 18. So if you're going to be throwing doubt on everyone, surely you'll be throwing at a new coach. So you're sitting back going, that has to be a team that is not competitive. They're lost. The coach doesn't know what they're doing. He's lost the players. And that turns out to be a bloke who won a premiership 2 years later. What I say to everyone else out there is give them time.
Yep, and that was said about Clarkson, and it was said about
Didn't that
Damien
make a bit of
Hardwick.
sense?
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, and that is he was 5 and 13, and they won their last 4 rounds of 2006. So he won 10 of his first 40 games, Alistair.
Wow.
But what I just want to show, so that would give David some. This is where they got it right, though.
Yeah.
This through that time. When you get one draft, Sam, of Roughhead, that should be Jordan Lewis and Lance Franklin, and then premiership players, Ellis, Birchall, Bailey, and then Rioli. Mitchell was the year or two before that. Just want to show North, this is their first pick in the last 10 years. To me, not one of them is in the best 50 players in the game. So there's no Oliver, Bontempelli, Cripps, and that's where they're really missing it. Is it the environment that's created that doesn't allow them to get that? If they picked the wrong players, I don't think they've picked every wrong player. I think the environment has a fair bit to do with it.
We talk about development programs a lot, and it does help. But the ones with an application and talent come through regardless. It's just a matter of speed of coming through and the quality around them game day that allows them to shine.